All right, so today's question is, how can you give God the glory? We're in Genesis 41. Get ready, because Joseph's about to go from the prison to the palace in one single day. Only God can pull off a turnaround like this. In verses 1 through 8, we see Pharaoh's two dreams. It's been 2 whole years since Joseph interpreted those dreams in the prison. Yeah, 2 years sitting there. He's waiting. Talk about patience. Then Pharaoh himself has 2 crazy dreams. First, he sees 7 fat cows come up out of the Nile River looking good and healthy. Then 7 skinny cows, ugly cows. They come up and eat the fat ones. Then he dreams again, 7 heads of grain, full and healthy, and then 7 shriveled heads that eat up the good ones. But no one could tell him what they meant. All Pharaoh's wise men are stumped. Human smarts can't solve spiritual problems. Only God can. Verses 9 through 16, Joseph is called. So suddenly the cupbearer remembers him. He says, wait a minute, I know a guy. He tells Pharaoh about Joseph interpreting dreams back when he's locked up. Pharaoh sends for Joseph immediately. Joseph gets cleaned up, shaves, changes clothes. You got to get ready when God's about to promote you. And he stands before Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, hey, I had a dream last night, and no one can tell me what it means. But I have heard that when you hear about a dream, you can interpret it. And Joseph, humble as ever, he says, hey, it's beyond my power to do this, but God can tell you what it means and set you at ease. Joseph doesn't try to grab the glory. He points straight to God. In verses 17 through 32, you see Joseph interpreting the dreams. So Pharaoh tells Joseph the dreams, and Joseph says both dreams, they mean the same thing. There's going to be 7 years of great abundance in Egypt, but then there's going to be 7 years of terrible famine that will eat up everything good. God has revealed to Pharaoh in advance what he's about to do. And because Pharaoh had 2 dreams, it's firmly decided by God. It's going to happen. In verses 33 through 36, we hear Joseph's advice. Joseph don't just tell Pharaoh what's coming. He gives him a plan of action. He says, store up grain during the good years. Prepare for the famine ahead. God's wisdom don't just tell you what's wrong. It shows you what to do about it. In verses 37 through 45, we see Joseph's promotion. Pharaoh's blown away. He says, can we find anyone else like this man, so obviously filled with the Spirit of God? And just like that, Pharaoh makes Joseph second in command over all of Egypt. He's in charge of the whole land. He wears Pharaoh's own ring, fancy clothes, got the gold chain, the whole 9 yards. He says, I hereby put you in charge of the entire land of Egypt. From prison to prime minister in one day. Only God can do that. In verses 46 through 57, we see that Joseph rules wisely. Joseph was 30 years old when this happened. He gets busy. He stores up so much grain during the good years, it's like sand on the seashore. He prepares Egypt to survive the famine. And during those years, Joseph had 2 sons, Manasseh, which means God has made me forget all my troubles, and Ephraim, which means God has made me fruitful in the land of my grief. When the famine hits, Egypt is ready and the whole world starts coming to Joseph for food. So what's Genesis 41 teaching us? First, God's timing is perfect, even when it feels slow. Second, God can move you from the bottom to the top in one moment, so stay faithful while you wait. Third, wisdom comes from God, not from your own brain power. Fourth, when promotion comes, stay humble and point the glory back to God. Fifth, preparation in good times protects you in bad times. Don't waste your blessings. Sometimes it feels like your dreams are delayed, but delay don't mean denial. God might be preparing the throne room while you're sitting in the prison cell. So stay faithful, stay humble, and stay ready. Because when God moves, it's going to happen so fast you'll barely have time to grab your coat. So keep reading your Bible and don't be dumb.